Hey guys, Brett here. Welcome to another expert interview for the Seminar Marketing Funnel. Look, very pumped and excited to have a new friend and a good friend of mine, Adil Amarsi, who's an absolute superstar copywriter. Um, and to the point where, like, it might have been a couple of years ago, I just saw a lot of activity around this guy, and he just had a little cartoon character of his face, and I just thought he was like, because of the reputation and people were raving about him, I thought he must be like in his 40s or something at least. And I was gutted to find out he's only 25. And when I heard about his story, it just blew me away. I was super impressed. So I'm absolutely thrilled and excited to have this champion on the call today. So, g'day, buddy. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm good. And by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying the little animal you see walking around will speak every so often. So it's not a baby, it's him.
Yeah,
It's
right.
him. He's being weird today. So thank you for having me, man. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, so mate. So I'm gonna kick it off on a serious note, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's
Um,
go for
can you say "G'day, mate. How you going?" in your best Aussie accent?
it. G'day, mate. How you going?
All right. Okay, I'll give you a 6.5 out of that. So
That's better than a two, so I'm happy with that.
you can try and redeem yourself at the end of the call if you mate, if you want.
I'll 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 try, but remember, I've just only woke up, so
No worries. And to be fair, I should try and talk the UK. So good day,
okay. You
yeah.
gotta say good afternoon, governor.
Good afternoon, Governor.
Okay, I'll give that an eight. That is pretty good. That is pretty
Uh,
good.
that's cool. All right, so changing lanes now, man. So look, as a fellow copywriter, most of the copywriters around the world have come across you, heard your name. So, and I was fascinated when we chatted before and heard your story. So, do you want to share your story with everyone listening today?
Yeah, sure. For the people that have not heard my story, it's essentially what happened was, but when I was 5 years old, it's when it really started. I was 5 years old. Uh, the ages 5 to 7, my dad was paralyzed from the waist down, so he couldn't walk. Thankfully, he regained the ability to walk because it was a nerve that was trapped in his back that would paralyze him from walking. But during that time period, my dad would watch copious amounts of TV, like huge amounts, because all he could do was sit on his butt all day. So little 5-year-old me, 6-year-old me, and 7-year-old me, as we grew up, I have an older sister, by the way, and anyone knows, with an older sibling, you're going to get your butt handed to you repeatedly, no matter what you do, because you're so tiny. So my sister used to love watching really bad TV shows from the 90s that I did not enjoy. So I was like, I want to watch cartoons. Cartoons all the way. Woo! Unfortunately, what ended up happening was that my sister and like the only way I could do that I could outmuscle my sister, is outsmart my sister. And the way I could outsmart my sister was Chase Clio for a second. Sorry, Cat is. Yeah, you can hear him. He's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the time. Anyway, the only way you can outsmart an older sibling, well, the only thing you can do is outsmart an older sibling, because you can't outpower them, because it's impossible. Um, the the hilarity of it all, though, was that I ended up watching 2 hours of QVC Billy Mays pitching every day, 6 days a week, for 2 hours a day for 2 years straight.
Classic.
So
That
the
built.
only time I didn't get to watch Billy Mays was on Sunday, and that's because I got it before my dad did, and I watched TV before he did, so I wouldn't have to watch TV for the rest of the day and have to do my homework.
So Billy Hayes was it? Because we're in Australia, we're not familiar with him, but
Oh, Billy Mays. Billy Mays is an infamously powerful pitchman on like direct shopping TV. He's like, "Hey guys, Billy Mays here, and I'll bring you the what's it called, the slap chop or whatever it is. I'll be showing you how
love
you
it.
can use this thing. Yeah, he's a legend, like Gary Halbert-esque legend.
Really? Wow, man.
He looks like he had a beard like Halbert and everything, but he lived until 2010, I think it was. He passed. I could be wrong, but Billy Mays was he was an insanely good pitchman, like salesman, like no other. But I went from that, and I totally kind of buried it. But I would, because you're unconsciously exposed to sales, so you
Mm.
don't really know what you're doing. And one of the biggest compliments that was ever paid to me, which could be seen as an insult, but it wasn't to me, was my mother turned around to me and said, Adil, you know, you're really good at manipulating people. And the reason she said that was I'd always wait until she was on the phone to my aunt to
Oh,
go ask her if I could play on my PlayStation.
nice.
Because like
Manipulate.
my mother was like the iron fist of the house. So if she said I was allowed to play on my PlayStation, I don't care what you're doing, I can play on my PlayStation. So I'd always wait until she was on the phone. I'd go annoy her a little bit. She'd be like, "Yes, yes, go, 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 go." So I'd go ahead and just play. My sister would get all mad at me and stuff. I'm like, "Mum said it. Mum said I could."
Nice, nice,
So
buddy.
it was always a fun thing there.
Playing
And then
playing the game nice and early. Well done.
pretty much. I think I was about 9 when that happened. But when I was 12, my teachers sat me down. Well, sat my parents down, and they told my parents, Adil takes forever to write one paragraph, and it did. It used to take me like an hour and a half to write literally something that should have taken me like 5 minutes.
Really?
Because I was a perfectionist. I was hugely a perfectionist. I'd sit there and just like, if anything was off, any bit of the sentence was off, like if I just flourished too much on the D as I wrote it, in curve, well, what's it called? Cursive, not
Cursive, yeah.
curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, cursive handwriting. If I actually just flourished too much on the D, I'd actually have to sit there and rewrite it.
Yeah,
I'd
wow.
spend literally hours just rewriting it.
Huh.
Um, so my teacher's like, no, he's got to speed up his handwriting because he's going to, well, secondary school over here, which I think is middle school in the US. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's kind of like when I was 12 going on 13.
Yeah.
My teacher's like, he's going to suffer if he goes to that and he can't write quickly because he's going to have so much work to keep writing up on.
Mhm.
So my dad took me to, like, at this point, my dad had like an import-export business. So he sat me down in his office and he goes, okay, all I want you to do is write about our products. Stories, just go and write stories about our products. That's all. So for the next year and a bit, I actually ended up writing stories for my dad's products,
Hmm.
all the way until I was 17, where he sold the damn thing. But when I was 13, I started doing martial arts, and
Yeah.
I stopped going to my dad's offices so much, but I never stopped writing. I wrote daily. I still do write to this day, every single day.
Yeah, right.
So for the last 14 years, as of Thursday, would be 14 years Thursday, I've been writing sales copy every single day. I mean, when I
So,
turned 18, I went pro, and
so
the rest is,
I'll stop you right there because I know, and before you continue on, so when you say you write sales copy every day, like that's a conscious decision that like kind of like what Dan Kennedy does. He just, um, or is it something you just, is it because of um, the projects you have on, or does you always write? Tell us why you do that and how.
I I always have to write. It's may God rest her soul. My friend Sarah Green a few years ago, she was an amazing artist, like absolutely amazing artist. Her bare minimum work for anyone to take her on to do a commission was $35,000 as an artist,
Wow.
and she'd get flown around the world to go look at art exhibitions or do. She was an amazing marketer, an amazing woman overall.
Oh,
Just sad we never got to meet in person. We spoke a lot online Skype, but um, she told me one day, I said, how much would it cost me to actually uh, hire you to do an art piece for me? And she said, for you, because I like you, it'll cost you $15,000. At the time, I was like, oh my God, no way. So it's interesting because it's only right now, in this exact moment, that I figured out what she was doing and how it was so profound because it's only just hit me like a ton of bricks.
oh,
Um, Essentially what she did was she used to try and outprice herself in the marketplace by
oh.
outpricing herself because she said it herself, I hate painting. She used to say it all the time to me. She goes, I don't like painting. I have to paint. I have to draw art. I have to do it because it's an internal need or else there's a gap and I need to do it daily. And I was like, really? And I didn't really understand that. And I got to that point as well where I literally write daily based on a need. If I don't write, then something feels broken. Something feels like my day is missing, like my day is incomplete. I can't do anything. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow, before my mother arrives tomorrow, because it's my birthday, I'm taking the whole day off.
Happy birthday
Um,
tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
I'm literally taking the whole day off to spend time with my mum, so we can go out together. But she doesn't arrive until a certain time, and when she arrives to London, I'll take my day off. Prior to that, I'm actually writing a sales letter in the morning just because I have to, or an email sequence, or something that basically activates my brain to feel like I'm not wasting a day.
Yeah, wow,
So
that's interesting.
that's
Yeah, that's okay. So I mean, my good mate, and you've probably connected with Pete Godfrey. I'm not sure, but he's a champion.
yeah,
He's the same. He is a writer, whereas myself, like I'm very good at writing copy, and but I didn't have a passion for writing, and at all. Like I went all through school, failed English. So the only reason I want to bring that up is because. Um, just to let people know that to have hope. You know, you don't have to be passionate about it. You can
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's really I love speaking to masters of their craft, which you are,
thank you.
and like Pete, you guys write every day, whereas I think every day. I mean, and like creating ideas and be creative, but I'm okay if I miss out on writing.
Yeah, I mean, there is one other thing that I should really point out for anyone that's listening out there to give you some hope. I write every day, but I'm dyslexic. So I have an editor that basically goes through my work to make sure that I don't make that many spelling mistakes.
Yeah, yeah,
But to tell you right now, if
mm.
a dyslexic kid from like me can go and do what I've done, trust me, just pick up, just start doing things, and trust me, you can do
I'm glad you said it. That's music to my ass. I mean to my ears. That was a dyslexic joke there. Good setup. But mate, mate, I challenge any copywriter in the world who would be as bad a speller as me. Yeah, so sometimes in the past, I've um, sent my draft copy to a client, the wrong copy, and that was a pretty embarrassing conversation. I nearly lost that account. Like, what kind of imbecile are we paying all this money to? But anyway, so keep on going, man. Keep going with your story.
It's always brilliant. I mean, that was the big thing though, and it's funny you should mention that because I've had that happen before. A client messaged me back going, "Did a 5-year-old write this?" I was like, yes. I sent you the wrong thing. I sent this to my cousin to read to like, he's 5. I'm getting him into writing sales copy like I did, and just made some crap up. And I was like, no, here's the real thing.
Yeah. Oh,
This is the one I wrote.
I could say, I say, are you on a PC? Because I'm on a Mac. They must have been jumbled up, in the. But yeah,
See,
cool.
that's the thing. I always ask that before I do anything. Like, are you a PC or a Mac person? Like, oh, I'm a PC person. Like, I've got to throw like a little charge extra. It's called the PC charge. Where I don't like people with PCs. I just charge them a little bit more.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
it's like it's like the PETA tax.
The what tax?
PETA tax. PITA. Pain in the ass tax.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, pain in the ass tax. Nice. Very
I
cool.
love that one. But to go on with the story, just very quickly to wrap up, when I was 18, I started my first business, which did not go as well as I wanted it to. Um, I ended up, it was a network marketing business, which I did really well in,
Hmm.
and then some stuff happened, and then it just kind of, well, blah, it went out. And then I lost my interest in that business because I was like, oh, wow, this could happen at any time. I can lose my entire income in a blink of a hat, in a blink of an eye,
Mm.
or a drop of a hat. And I was trying to say both, so I said blink of a hat, which,
Strangely,
tells you
it made
exactly.
sense to me perfectly.
I know, right? We're just copywriting lines. That's what we do. We just know what the other one means.
So.
Um, but what ended up happening was I actually, my dad told me, why don't you look at this whole copywriting thing, told me the story of how I used to write his direct mail pieces, because what they used to do, the stories I used to write for my dad, his copywriters used to just add on a headline, clean up my copy, and then write a close. Essentially, their
Right,
job was just to edit my work.
right, right.
Um, I
That's
didn't know
amazing.
this about it for years.
Wow.
But the real big thing was I met a fellow Australian of yours, Stephen Esser.
Oh yeah, cool.
Stephen
Steve,
Esser being the
champion.
yeah, Steve and a guy called Alex Goad. Now those two guys really kind of sat me down during a seminar, which I was like serving as the green room guy. I wasn't speaking. I met Brett McFall there as well.
Nice.
Um,
Good guys.
and yeah, Stephen and Alex basically sat me down and said, "What are you really good at?" I said, "Well, I suck at traffic, but I think I'm good, or I believe I'm good by people coming to my website. I've had people buy things just by reading what I've written. They're like, oh, so you're a copywriter then?" I was like, I don't know what one of those is. And they're like, it's someone that writes advertising. They're an actual salesman that kind of like goes into writing and helps out from that point of view. Or they can do it and learn it over the years. But you seem to have a gift of selling, so go ahead and figure it out. Ta-da. And there's
Nice.
a room full of people here that will easily pay you like two, three, five, 10, 100 grand to do what you do. So I was like, no way, okay, cool. So I didn't know what I was doing because up to this point I still had no structural copy basis because
Right.
you know
Yeah, yeah,
it's all
yeah.
good and well writing stories and doing things here and there, but if you don't have any structure, it's no good.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
everything I wrote prior was to be read. Like anything I wrote, the intention was get this read. Everything I wrote after that was get this to buy. Like that
yeah,
was essentially it.
yeah,
Forget people reading it, get them to say yes and buy it, because
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the overall message I had. Fast forward a year into it, and I was charging like 250, $500 for a sales letter, which is, I know, a cardinal sin. Um, got turned on to John Carlton's stuff about structure, got really good. So thank you, John, if you ever listen to this for some reason. I think Brett will actually hunt you down and go, hey, you go listen to this. This one's one of yours.
He's a
Um,
legend, John Cotton.
he, he is an
Um,
absolute legend, probably
yeah,
one of the better teachers in copywriting, in my opinion.
yeah.
But
Oh,
John,
yeah.
go on.
Oh no, I just think well, there's some copywriters you read their stuff and you can get their feel like with lots of practice you could write like Gary Halbert because he's got this really fresh conversational style and Dan Kennedy with lots of practice you could write like Dan and I'm not being conceited but writing like John Carton, man, he's just at a whole new level. Like it's just
Yeah.
he's insane. The language is yeah, he's a
Oh,
rock
yeah.
star.
He's a wordsmith, and everyone has
Mm,
their own style. I mean, the
yeah.
reason John's style works so well for John is because it's him in real life. That is
Mm,
John Carlton to the core, and that's something I'm going to touch upon in a moment.
cool.
Um, but the thing was that my first big victory came in when I was 19 years old. As a kid in debt doing door-to-door sales at the time, I got hired for a $3,500 contract.
Right.
Sorry, £3,500, £3,500, not dollars,
Yeah.
contract plus percentage on the back end. So around $5,000 plus, I think it was like 2 or 3% of a £15,000 year-long real estate training course that I had to write direct mail piece for.
Oh wow.
So I wrote this direct mail piece for it, and unfortunately, I can't go into the exact details of who it was, what they did, yada yada. But I can tell you
Yeah.
exactly what the conversion rate was and what they brought. I can't even tell you the conversion rate because I don't actually know it anymore. I do know how much money they brought in. They
All right.
mailed this thing out over the course of a week. They made over £5 million. After refunds, they made 3.5 million on chargebacks and stuff like that.
Wow.
Like cars didn't go through and stuff. At the end of that week, because we only had 7 days, we only had like 6 days. At the end of the sixth day, I would get paid. I'd get paid my percentage, and I'd never get paid for all the other stuff. So they could have gone on and made like another 8 to 10 or 20 million from the work I wrote, but
Yeah.
I would never know about it because they only told me how much they made in that first 5 days,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
five, 6 days. So they made about £3.5 million all in all in those first couple of days. Wow, I can see your screen now. Um, they made all that money, and I got paid £80,000 or $150,000 at the time.
Yes.
As
At
as
19.
at 19 years old, I had just turned 20. It was literally just 2 weeks after I turned 20. I got this I got this command because I'd been writing it for a month and a half. So I started when I was 19, finished when I was 20, and I got paid $150,000 for that for my commission check. And I remember being in the field, like knocking doors, and I thought the bank was punking me. I thought they were literally playing with me. I was like, "You kidding me?" So I asked them, and I knocked on someone's door. I said, "Hi, do you know where the nearest ATM is or the nearest bank?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's thankfully we're just in like a tiny village area, so there was a bank right there." And they go, "Yeah, it's just right around the corner." I was like, "Great, I'll be back." Told my teammates, I was like, "Look, I'll be back in 5 minutes." They're like, "Why?" I was just go check something. Ran to the bank after speaking to them on the phone, obviously, because they told me on the phone. Ran to the bank, checked my account, and unfortunately, like the person had like brought my account up, and it still said minus X amount of money that I was in like debt with. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no. And then they refreshed it and they saw pending transaction, £80,000. Oh, £80,000, but it was like £80,000 just going straight into my account and just said pending transaction on approval.
Right.
Um, so I
Nice.
was like, oh my God, this is insane. So I made like 80 grand, and then mindset stuff kicked in really badly, and I didn't have the mind to control it, so I
Yeah,
spent all my money as an idiot. And
that's pretty normal, buddy.
well,
Don't beat yourself up too much. Most people,
I'm
most people
trying
do
my
that
best.
a lot of people
But
do
the
that in their
worst part
40s
was,
and 50s. You know?
yeah, I mean, one of the worst things I actually did was I did not understand mentally that I could make that money all the time. I thought it was a fluke, so I was
Right.
still barely charging anything until a couple of years ago. I started charging like a significantly big amount of money. Where I was like, you know what? No, I got to charge more money for my work.
Yeah. No, and see, and I know you can't bluff your way to that. It doesn't, and I mean, when I first started, I had some very quick wins, and I just thought there was like beginner's luck. But then, there's no such thing as copy. You know, when to make someone take action from well, face to face, it's okay. You can see their facial inflections, and you can kind of navigate conversations and do that. But doing it static through a letter, that's some serious skill, man. And so to do that at 19 is amazing. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So tell us more, man, and then we'll get into some deep dark secrets, so to help the listeners kind of improve their copywriting abilities and for business and things like that.
Okay, cool. Well, the first thing is I'm actually gearing towards actually becoming unhireable right now.
Nice.
So it's weirdly my ambition to actually become unhireable
Yeah.
for
So
copywriting.
how does that look?
I keep raising my prices every two or three clients.
All
So
right.
every time someone says like yes to me more than once, I'm like, okay, let's see if you'll say yes to this price. Okay, how about this one? And it's more or less, I like people saying no to me because what would happen is they can't afford me, but they can afford my team.
Hmm.
They can afford the guys I've trained. So I go, okay, cool, you can't afford me, but let me show you this option for my team because I want them to write because that's how
Yeah.
they get their work. Is they can go out and actively do it themselves, but because I'd rather be the guy that helps them get the fast jobs. Like unlike me, who and you and everyone else, we kind of had to kind of hustle a little bit our own work
A
to
lot.
get it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're sitting on sales calls, listening to what I'm saying, attempting it themselves, but they're actually doing everything through my company. So it really helps out. It makes my company look great, but it also helps them out financially.
Well done, man. And you've definitely got the reputation and maintain that reputation, and it's super impressive, buddy. So tell me, um, what are some of your methods or techniques, or I suppose um, your style of teaching someone new? Because I think everyone's different. I know for me, I think as a base, I like to find someone who naturally writes conversational, because then it's easy for me to take them to the next level. But
Hmm.
what's your kind of the way you look at newbie copywriters, or someone wanting to get good at this and take it to the next level?
I ask them what books they've read,
Good. Yep.
not copywriting books per se, just what books they've read.
Okay.
Because I know not everyone reads books, so I always ask what movies and TV shows they watch as well, or video games they play. Because a lot of the time, the way we've moved towards story-based everything, you'll see some of the most successful story games in the world that you wouldn't even believe are story-based games. I'll give you an example. Do you know the video game Tekken?
So what's it called?
Tekken, Tekken, or
Yes. Yeah. I haven't
it's a
played it.
fight. It's a fighting beat 'em up game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Huge in Japan, but huge globally. Tekken, you wouldn't think that kind of beat 'em up game where it's like you and your friend get on thing, you beat each other up and stuff. You wouldn't think there's a story to that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
It has a story, massive
Right.
story.
Which is
If you look, oh, essentially it's just about like this one family and this cursed bloodline that is they're trying to take over a corporation, blah blah blah. It's essentially just a tournament to weed out the weak so they can kill each other in public without having any problems and take over the company and yada yada yada.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it'll
So
be interesting for sure.
yes.
It'll be interesting for sure to see exactly how they would do that. Namely, like how do they go ahead and structurally do things in their day to day? Like if they play video games, do they run the stories? Do they? read books? Do they do this? Because anyone that does those things subconsciously picks up the art of storytelling to a
Mm,
certain degree.
mm.
And then I start getting them to talk to me. Like I start getting them to tell me stories.
Yeah.
Once they've done their story bit, the most important thing comes in. I play a game with them.
Okay.
This game is something I used to do in sales.
All right.
It's a game I still do every so often with new people, and it's a game that anyone here, if you really want to get good at telling a flowing story,
Mm.
it's really good to do, figure out, and that is essentially this. So, Brett, you and I are going to demonstrate. I'm going to tell you the rules, and we're going to demonstrate. Okay?
Rightio.
So, so the rules are, each of us gets we can go as long as we want, but usually it's around 20 seconds or 30 seconds we go.
Okay.
I tell one part of a story. You have 10 seconds to fill in the next part of the story.
Okay.
Then I have 10 seconds to fill in the next part of the story. Then you
Yeah.
have 9 seconds. And then I have 9 seconds. Then 8 seconds. Then 8 seconds. 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5. All the way until we're down to like a second each, where the continuous story is just going between us.
Wow. Cool.
And it's a really good way to engage the brain's creativity,
Yeah.
um, to actually make up stories. Now, most people will tell you do this in 3 or 5 seconds right away, which
Mm.
I've seen in sales games. The reason I prefer not to do it that way is simply because um, it's not enough time. People panic in that time period. 10 seconds gives them enough time to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they think, they can come up with great ideas. When they come up with great ideas, they can come up with great stories. It's a really great way to see inside the mind of someone. Now, if they can't do this, then I know for a fact this person needs more work. So I set them a little homework to go ahead and do. And if they complete it correctly, then I take them on board as a new copywriter. If not, it's kind of like, sorry, I don't think this is the field for you.
Wow. Well,
Unless they can sell.
that's
Unless they
interesting.
can sell.
So at this stage, you haven't even like really looked at their copy, or you might have, but this is kind of the one of the critical filters that you put on if you're looking for a new copywriter.
Entirely. I mean, it's one of the things that I put on because here's the thing, you can fake being a good copywriter at the start. You really can fake it. All you need to do is find 20 swipe files, copy and paste their headlines, edit it a little bit, and tonight you've got an award-winning happy slash dash sales piece ready to
Yeah,
go out.
yeah.
Now, I have a thing against swipe file stealing, which I will explain in a moment. But yeah, that's what I look for when people actually when I look at helping people become copywriters. I look at those critiques and factors.
So what homework would, if someone listened to this, because I totally agree, storytelling is it. Like, it's, and I could do a 3 day conference just on storytelling. That people, we grow up on it. We get read stories when we're kids. We love going to movies for some visual value and just zoning out to a movie. And more importantly, what I love about stories is it completely isolates their attention for what you're writing, amongst all the clutter that goes on. Because once you pull them in, they start a story, and actually want to see how it ends. And in that time, you're actually building trust, and trust is the biggest barrier you've got to overcome online. So it's just massive. And what I love about it is, all the best Facebook ads, they're generally, story based, video sales, that is long form sales, that are emails, blog posts. It's just, yeah, it's just the backbone of everything, isn't it?
Including comedy, stand-up comedy, and this is something I figured out quite recently. Because one of my passions is being a comedian. I love telling stories.
Right. Yeah.
Because apparently, well, I say this much. I like it because apparently I've been told I'm funny,
Right.
and I don't know if I am. I really don't know. So I go off a crowd reaction. But because of my natural demeanor, apparently I make people laugh very quickly. So I'm like, okay, because I just say things and I don't get offended by them.
Yeah.
Um, he and like so what ended up happening was I stopped doing stand up for a while, and there's a comedian called Ari Shafir, Arishaffir.
Right.
He has a thing on YouTube called This Is Not Happening. It's on Comedy Central, but you can watch it on YouTube, where it's Ari and his friends like Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell and all these guys. Um, uh, all these guys are literally doing their thing, and
Hmm.
it's like they're all doing their own little they're telling their stories on stage of crazy things that have happened to them in a show called This Is Not Happening. So they have stuff about like drug overdose. They have stuff about like how they've been caught in a fire, or how Joe Rogan was talking about how he was in Dothan, Alabama, at a strip club in the middle of nowhere, and it was wondering what
Right.
was going on. So he tells the story.
Yeah.
And if someone told you these stories, just like, I was in a hotel and there was a fire and I walked down the stairs and I got out, but it was really, really tight. You can end a story with just the fact, but you can weave a good tale like Joe did, which was like, so I'm in the hallway and I'm thinking, where are my friends? And this is what the hallway looked like. And you can tell where all the ambient junkies are, because there's like they wake up, they look around and go, okay, let's go forward, because they're in the middle of
Yeah.
fire, they don't even care. And
Cool.
so it's all about delivery of those things, but story is massive,
Awesome. So, how would
massive.
you recommend people, watching or listening to this get good at storytelling if they might yeah, I mean, the people listening, there's going to be a combination of people who want to put on events and seminars. They might have to do their own marketing. A lot of them will have to be doing their own marketing. If not, at the very least, they'll be finding a copywriter and critiquing, so you and I know
Okay,
stories are it. So how would you push people in that area to improve?
okay, I'm gonna give you guys homework on exactly how you can get your story out for your event. Now, this is essentially what I would do. You're gonna get. I need you to get a notepad, physical notepad. I don't want you to open up one up on your computer, because there's a reason for this, and I'll tell you in a moment. It goes back to what I was going to tell you a moment ago, but it's very, very similar. So that's one. Two is take about an hour's time away from the computer. Go find a special secluded spot in your house, in your garden, wherever you are. Make time, okay? Just make time and go do it there, because trust me, you need distraction-free work for this 1 hour. Um, so that's everything. That's what you need. Now, here's what I would suggest you do. Answer the following questions. So question one is, why am I doing this seminar? It's the first reason. Why am I even doing this damn thing?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two is, who do I want to attend? What type of people? I know you guys would have done this all in your market research, but write it down anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But get really clear about who it is. Number three, why am I the one that has to do the seminar?
Interesting.
Number four, what experiences have I had that I could share with people that are going to the seminar that will greatly impact them positively?
Yep. Nice.
Number five, what am I offering to detail? Like, what details am I offering? And then number six, it goes into kind of that's like, now what are you offering in detail? That's kind of go more product side, but like keeping on the story
Yeah.
is number six is, who was the actual star of my story? Was it me or was it my client?
Okay.
Like, did I do something that was heroically amazing that I could do this and teach other people how to do this? Or did I do this for a client and they were the star and their results were amazing?
Hmm.
I'm writing about them to you so you can see what's going on. So a case study piece if you wanted. But then you also want to, and finally you want to gather the last bit, which is, what is the key core driver behind this? Like, what is the key core emotion? Is it greed? Is it happiness? Is it satisfaction? Is it anger at oneself? Is it subsidizing that rage of, no, you can do more but not being able to? Whatever that core emotion is, write it down. Or core emotions, could be more than one, just write them down.
Mm.
Because all this does is, there is a, I'm gonna get weird on you right now, Brett, like really weird, so please bear
I'm
with me.
ready.
Yeah, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Oh,
I'm talking like me stripping naked weird here right now. I'm
oh,
not going to, but that's how
oh.
weird it would be if I did
Easy, governor.
it. Essentially, what you do is, the reason you're writing on paper is, when you write ad copy, there's a metaphysical interaction that happens. So when you write angry and someone reads it, they can pick up on the anger in your voice, in the verve of your words. They can feel it
Mm-hmm.
when they read your work. I mean, think about any Halbert letter you've ever written, you've ever read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could you not physically feel his presence at some level on those words, even if it's a small
Every
part?
single time. It's like you're sitting across the kitchen table from him having a yarn.
Yeah, it's entirely that kind of stuff. And the reason you can do that is quite simply your brain is it emits a level of energy onto the paper or onto the computer based on it. Now, when you write out all this stuff about your story on paper, it engages different parts of your brain to tell you, okay, these are the questions I need to answer, these are the ones I'm answering, and these are the most truest answers I can give you. So if you feel angry right now, write down anger. If you feel happy, write down happy. If you feel sad, write down sad. If you feel whatever it is that you feel, write it down, because those emotions, when you're writing, you're going to look back and go, yeah, fuck this guy. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Da, da, da. Some of the best copy I've written angry or pissed off at a client.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
one of my exes knows this for a fact. She goes, I don't get why you do client work. I was like, what do you mean? You get client work, you're really good friends with them, you have a good time, and then when you're writing, you're like, you're a stupid asshole. I hate you so much. I wish that you could jump off a bridge and die. That kind of stuff. I'm like saying the most horriblest shit to people like ever while
That's
I'm actually
hilarious.
writing. But no one else hears it unless you're around me, and
Yeah,
unless I really know you and like and trust you. So
yeah.
me admitting this is quite a big thing. But I do this all the time, and when my client reads it, they're like, "Oh my God, this is so passionate. I love the way you've captured my voice and everything." I'm just like, "You have no idea how much I swore at you at all. Thank you for paying the rest of my check."
Oh, classic.
So
So is that purely just because uh, you write better in an emotional state? I mean, I know what that's like. Is that yeah,
I definitely write better in emotional state. So what I
yeah,
tend to do, what differentiates me from other copywriters, and I think our good friend and brother Ken Foodie can attest to this one.
the man.
Um, Yep, the man himself. Ken and I generally tend to write. I tend to become my client before I write. And what I mean by that is, if you hired me today, Brett, I would study your mannerisms. I'd
Yeah.
study your voice. I'd study your actions. I'd study your story. I'd study everything I could about you until I essentially, when I wrote, I was you. So when you read it, you were like, did I write this or did someone else write this?
And you'd instantly be 40% cooler.
Exactly, right? An instant bump in coolness. No, do you think the world could handle that much cool
No,
in one
exactly.
man?
I think
I'd just explode.
you've peaked at 26, buddy. Next tomorrow.
It's all downfall from here. I'm kidding.
But yeah, so it's really cool that you said that because we're on opposite sides of the globe, and for every time when people teach copyright, they said you got to know your client, you got to understand your client, and for years I've been teaching no, you've got to become your client, and I've never actually heard anyone say that. We even had a talk, and that was you just came out with it, and that's it's just spot
Mm-mm.
on. It's exactly what you got to do. So
Yeah,
well
I
done.
mean, I obsess over my client stuff. Like when I like one of the preparations I do is if it's for my own copy, I do it as well. What I do is I sit my ass down, and because I do accents and some accents, not the Australian accent, obviously, but I'd sit down and I'd do like say my German accent, and I'd speak to myself in the German accent, answering the questions I have written out myself for me while recording myself in a German accent, so it doesn't sound like me. I don't get bored of my own voice, but then I listen to it all the time. I just sit there and listen to it through my headphones. I'll be working out, listening to my own voice in German. I'll be sleeping and listening to it, or if it's my client's voice. I'll be doing this all the time for that person, listening to their stuff, replaying it until I actually speak like them, act like them, talk like them, walk like them, behave like them, act as if I was them in a day-to-day situation. So I become very method about it.
Yeah,
Except for I don't do any of the stupid shit that they do. Like someone goes, I get drunk all the time. Like I don't touch alcohol, so there's a difference there.
yeah.
uh,
You can act like that, but
Pretty much. But it helps. It helps you get into their mind to understand what emotions and pain they're feeling and
yeah,
what pleasure they want.
very true, man. It's something like Lenique and I talk about a lot. It's almost like where people pay us deservedly um, large amounts of money because it's our job to understand themselves and their business and their audience and their avatar better than they do. But not only that, it's like we're kind of preparing for a movie role, like some of the Hollywood actors have to kind of step into that kind of space and play and act that out. That's kind of what we do as copywriters.
Hmm.
That's where the magic comes from. So that's cool,
Yeah.
man. So even like so for the copywriters listening to this, they'll just be eating this up because it's really it takes them so much closer to the edge where they need to be just to write some really powerful, emotive, high converting copy. But what about the business owner who has to write for themselves? I mean, I know anytime I take on copywriters and one of the first tests I give them is, you know, write a sales page about yourself, and man, the blocks that come up when people have to write about themselves. And I know
Yeah,
I remember what that's like when I first started. So, what advice have you got for people who have to write copy about themselves for their own seminars or anything like
man, I used to hate doing that, but now I actually found the shift is quite good. And the way I do this again, as I mentioned very, very recently, I put myself in an accent that I do in order to actually read out my words. That's
that?
one way of doing it.
Say it again. What do you
Mhm.
do? What do you do?
Like oh, can you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
there we go. Perfect. Can you hear me now?
yeah,
All right,
man. That's
great.
not cool.
Essentially, what I do is I go ahead and speak in a German accent, answering the questions I would ask my clients
All right.
to myself while recording it and listen to it as if I was my own client.
Yeah,
But if you can't do that and you think, oh my God, I can't do that, how do I sell myself? Well, quite simply, all you do is write out the same questions you would have for your clients. If you had
yeah,
to write copy for a friend, what questions would you ask them? How would you tell them how great they are? Then what you do, you get those questions, and there's two ways of doing this. One, if you know the answers, go ahead and write them down, have someone else read them. Or two, which is the one that we most likely are, find five of your closest friends, give them all a copy of this questionnaire, say, look, I love you guys, please go ahead and do this for me. It's really important, and if you want, I'll pay you $5 a piece. We'll go ahead and do it. Or I'll get the first round of drinks if you guys can actually do this for me.
yeah,
Whatever, if your friends drink. Or for me, it's always like, look, I'll get the food if you do this for me. Um, so what they do is essentially they just fill out like this huge, not this huge, it's like 10-page questionnaire, which just basically asks them about me. Like, what's my
oh,
most, what feature of mine do you find most um, attractive in feeling of in the world of like business? What qualities do I possess?
all right.
Um, what am I really good at? How do I come across? What do what do you feel when we speak? How does this happen? How does that happen? And one of the things I found out from a very good friend of mine, and he actually told Dan Kennedy this yesterday, by the way,
Mm.
when introducing me to him, because one of my nicknames is Adil the Awesome, which was from my sales day, from my sales days.
That's
So
that's your new nickname from here on.
oh, dude, it's my Facebook name, so that's how you find me. Just type in Adil the Awesome and it comes up.
All right.
Um, this guy David, he actually told Dan, he was like, "Oh, Adil the Awesome is on stage to ask you a question." Like Dan kind of like giggled a little bit, which was kind of cool. Like he
Perfect.
had a little bit of a smile. I was like, "Grumpy old Dan smiling. This is kind of interesting, kind of creepy at the same time, but kind of cool." Um, but my friend VJ actually turned around and said, "Yeah, Adil's one of those few talents that he speaks, eats, breathes copy. He doesn't understand he's selling you
Yeah,
or selling to you when he's talking to you. He thinks it's conversation, but in reality, he's dropping nuggets every second that he's talking. So just have a tape recorder on the bastard every time
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
near him."
yeah,
I was like, "That's cool." So when you're writing for yourself, having your friends do this actual questionnaire for you, it kind of brings out the feeling of what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? How do I go along? Now, the best thing for you to do here, if you're not a copywriter, if you are, man, I'm really struggling writing my own personality in this thing. I don't know how to put myself out there. And by the way, if you swear, frigging swear in your goddamn copy. If you're an ass, tell people that you're an ass. Whatever it is, just be you. When you're you, people will like you, people gravitate towards you, and find out why your friends are your friends.
yeah, yeah.
That's another big one. That was one of the questions. Why are we friends? Oh,
Nice.
because you're quite funny and because you're like this. Okay, I'm going to put this out there. Hi
Yeah.
guys, I'm Adil. Nice to meet you. And I tell jokes. I made a terrorist joke in a sales video once.
Classic.
Seriously, I'm not even kidding. I said something like, "This thing's going to blow up your conversions, but please don't call the NSA on me. I'm actually brown." And then kept going. And people just looked at, I got emails afterwards going, I can't believe you just said that, and that was hilarious. I had like three people complain about it. Like the rest were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude, that was so funny because we know you.
that's
Um, so what I'm saying is put your personality into your copy, but the most important thing that I'm going to give you as a tip right now is there's two ways about doing this. One, do the copy yourself, which is great, by all means, do it.
yeah,
Or two, hire someone to write the copy for you, which I prefer. Or three, the third option is my favorite one for people that don't have a huge budget, right? Most copywriters offer critiques. We do, right?
yeah,
So, well, I know I do. I offer critiques for sales pieces. So what you would do is you would write out a sales page that's half decently good. Don't write crap, else we'll berate you for it. And we're not the nicest bunch when it comes to feedback at times.
yeah,
So because we'll be straight with you, you want to make sure that I always want to make sure that you've got a good time, you've got something happening, right? I also make sure that as a my God, I had like a brain fart right now. That was it. Um, dear Lord, what was I saying? Yeah,
uh,
that was it. So what we'd like to do is like we'd like to give you the best feedback possible so you can go ahead and do things. Sorry, Brett, just mind came back to it right
that's
then.
right.
Um, the point I was getting at essentially is when you write decently good copy, you can actually always find a good copywriter that you want to speak to, you built up a relationship with, you got a rapport, and you can say, hey, I've written the sales copy. Do you mind having a look on it? They'll tell you, okay, great, and just say, how much is it for your critiquing price?
Yeah, nice.
Because now what you're getting is a professional level critique for a
Yeah,
fraction of the price it would cost you to hire them to write. Because most copywriters, I don't know about you, but from what I found, some of the good ones I know only charge about $500 for this,
yeah, yeah,
all the way up to like $5,000 for this kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
It just depends exactly what it is, because it could be like one little fix and that's fix your entire sales copy and your message,
yeah,
or it could be 100 fixes because it's so horrible.
yeah.
But
And
accordingly,
but
gone.
the lessons they learn through that is it's a good use of their money. So that's a good tip, man. Hey, mate, I'll get off to there seems to be something wrong with the video at your end. Just stay there for a sec. Something's on the side of your face.
Oh, that's the sun.
Oh, this is the sun.
Sorry.
Sorry, mate. I'm
Yeah,
just not
it's
used.
it's the sun. I'm gonna try and
No,
shift
no, no. I was only joking.
angles
I
a
was just.
little bit.
I didn't think you guys get sun in the UK.
Oh, every so often.
Sorry, that joke didn't work. But anyway, yeah, no, that's cool, man. I didn't need you to do that. I was just trying to make a joke of
Okay. No,
that.
I thought I'd do this because now I look like Two-Face from Batman, which is pretty awesome. Light and dark. The polarity of my personality.
But that's cool, man. But it is a big struggle for a lot of people write copy for themselves if it's their own seminar and gig. And look, it is. You mentioned at the start when I first asked you, said, yeah, you've made the shift, and it really is something they have to do is actually make the shift. They've got to get over themselves and like it or hate it. Look, I don't think there's a magic button you can press to make that happen. But when you do finally get past it, then it goes to the next level where you embellish everything and you just and you find your personality, find your stride, and that's a good place to get at. So anyone listening to this, whatever you got to do to get there, just jump in and start writing. Do what Adil said and get a critique because the lessons you'll learn from the critique will sharpen your skills and just keep going. Because when you can inject your personality in your copy, that's when things really sing. So
Yeah, entirely.
yeah, cool, man. So mate, what else? Tell us. Um, well, in the seminar game, mate, and you know this from most products, right? But or most industries, but for every sales letter that I write for a seminar, there's usually anywhere from 40 plus emails, like through promotional emails, nurture emails, joint venture emails, upsell emails, the whole lot, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people squirm about writing a sales letter. I said that's not the hard part, like
Everything else that comes with it.
yeah. So, but the sales letter in itself, or the video script, kind of it becomes a catalyst where everything kind of flies off from. But so mate, tell us about your methods for writing fast emails. Now, I say fast because of this, right? Because you and I know that the more time that we have on a piece of copy, the better we can get it. If we had a lot of time, we could craft wicked emails or whatever. But sometimes you have to say, look, I can only write a 20-minute email today, because of the timeline, the deadline, right? So Tell us your process of punching out emails on kind of speed emails, I suppose.
Number one, this thing,
Okay.
right? Doesn't have to be an iPhone, it has to be a smartphone. It has a little feature on there called timer.
Yes.
And what I do is I start my timer off. I look at how much time I have to write email copy. I'm like, okay, um, little secret, an insider secret to all copywriters. If you are a copywriter doing this and you're wondering why the hell am I acting like this? What am I doing? It's not you. It's our industry. It's how we're bred, so to say.
Mm.
We essentially are known as the laziest bunch of assholes on the entire planet. And I'll tell you why. We spend all our time researching and only the last 20% of our time writing.
Exactly.
Essentially is what I found. I mean, if you look at someone like Gary Halbert was infamously known for he was infamously known for if he got paid 100% of the check up front, he would never do the work. Main reason is he would party his ass off all the time, be like, oh crap, I got work to do now, I have my own motivation, so he'd do 50-50.
Yeah.
The other stuff he was really known for is that he would spend all his time researching, and then only about near the end of where the deadline is, like he would write the copy, like at times he was written the copy literally the day before the client needed it,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to mail out. But he was like, I'm confident, I know what I'm doing. No, I've done everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just Gary's stuff. I have similar issues at times, and I'm sure Brett has had stuff like that where he's kind of like, I've got 3 days to write an entire sales funnel.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, put on the coffee, let's go.
And you just do it,
Just
hey. But yeah, that's
yeah,
yeah.
it's gone.
No, it's good hearing someone else say that because like you think in the years that you and I have been doing this, you'd think you'd get better at kind of not putting so much pressure on it, but it sometimes it often kind of it goes around in cycles and comes up again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
Um,
our friend is the 33-minute timer or whatever kind of.
Yeah, 33-minute time by Eugene Schwartz, was it? Schwartz was the one
Yeah.
that talked about it initially. I love Schwartz's stuff for that. But I actually don't do 33 minutes, and the way it's a great timer to do, by all means. But what I tend to do is I go find somewhere that I can work. Usually it's a Starbucks for me. I have my headphones in where I can't be disturbed. I put on some music that I like to write to. It's usually instrumental stuff, really. Like I listen to a lot of classical opera stuff, so I listen to like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. It's one of my favorite ones to write to.
That's exactly what I
I
do, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Mm.
it's great for like classical music stimulates the brain so much, and orchestrated music stimulates the brain so much.
Yeah,
1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky, by the way, great for that.
yeah, I like Adigo in anyway.
Adagio for strings.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's off.
Tessio. DJ Tessio remixed it and made it amazing, but it was like I know which
Yeah,
one you're on about.
it was off the movie Platoon.
Platoon.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Adagio for strings is an amazing soundtrack. I love that one.
yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
but I think I like it because all that classical because I can't sing to it. If I put my favorite songs on, I'm writing and then I'm going and then I break out in the chorus and I'm a pretty damn good singer, so I have to like
yeah,
stop myself.
he starts singing "Shake It Off" halfway through like the concert. It's so weird. It's like,
Yeah.
duh, 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 shake it off. What are you doing, Brett? Stop being weird. Grown
Guilty.
ass man. No one else can hear what he's hearing. It's just him. I'm just
Yes,
kidding though.
especially at Starbucks. That's true.
That's where the weird, because that's where all the lonely. That's what was it? All we're all the lonely Starbucks lovers because they'll tell you we're insane.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, this that isn't actually the lyric from Taylor Swift. The actual lyric is I've got a long list of ex-lovers. But it just sounds like a lonely Starbucks lovers. And the only reason I know this is because I get obsessive with music.
Right.
So I was listening to like my training partner Ash, who's currently in Australia, surprisingly. He and I, like whenever we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at my place, he puts on his playlist, and his playlist includes like stuff like Disney, Taylor Swift, and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting when we're like fighting and listening to this stuff. It's so weird. It's the weirdest music to like
Yeah,
grapple in. But we do. It's what you do.
yeah.
But anyway, back to my point. The way I actually write emails is I set aside a certain timeline. So if I say I've got 3 hours to write 20 emails, the way I do it is I start off, and it's going to sound really strange. Adil, you start with a 15-minute timer. How do you write 20 emails in 15-minute blocks? So you have 15, like how many emails, like how much time is 15 minutes over 20 emails? Let's see, 3 emails an hour. That is what, 21. Should be around 7 hours, give or take, just under like 6 hours 45 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I can tell you it'll only take you about 2 hours to write all 20 emails. And here's how. Number one, start off your little timer and write for that 15 minutes entirely, right? If you finish early, great. Stop your timer. Reset it to 15 minutes. And keep writing until, like, by the second or third email, you get to the point where you're finishing with about 2 or 3 minutes left to spare. So
mm.
drop the time down to 13 minutes. And then you'll find it, you get down to 11, then drop it down to 11 minutes. You'll find that you're down to 9. And by the time you're done, you'll be writing an email, like a full-length email, in about 5 minutes flat.
Nice one, man. I
I
like
mean,
that.
the quickest I've ever written an email while in this state, I got down to a minute, 60 seconds to write a full-length email.
Huh, nice. That's
And
fast.
I mailed it to my client. Obviously, there was a few spelling errors I missed, but my client actually completely overlooked everything. Went, these are amazing. You made 3 spelling mistakes, but I can fix those. But seriously, how long did it take you? Because I started posting like my times underneath each email, just for my own mental like satisfaction. And
Right.
this one was like 1 minute 3 seconds. And he
Really?
goes, what are all these timers underneath? I was like, oh, those are the times it took me to write that email. And by the last one, he goes, took you a minute and 3 seconds to actually go ahead and write this entire damn thing. So yeah, he goes, I'm impressed. You made 3 mistakes, but still impressed that you actually got the messaging
Yeah.
across.
That's cool, man.
So I was like,
I've never heard that cut down kind of method. That makes sense. What all I usually do is if I give myself 15 minutes to write an email or 10 minutes, depending on how much I've left up to the deadline. Um, and sometimes if I am not quite finished and I know that I've got to kind of it's not quite polished and the alarm goes off, I'll pause it, then put the alarm down for for 3 minutes, and if that goes off, then 2 minutes, 1 minute, yeah, like that's how I've kind of managed my urgency just to finish it off. But I quite like that style, buddy. So well done.
yeah, and if you do actually get, like the way I do it, because I actually have a point where the first emails I don't finish in the 15-minute mark, I do have penalties.
Yeah, right.
So so for instance, if I need 5 more minutes to write the damn email, then what I will do is I'll set 5 minutes on my timer and write down I owe myself £5.
Okay.
So it's a pound a minute,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, what I would do is I'd go down to the bank, at the cash point, and if I can't withdraw the money, I will have to withdraw the money and put the money aside in a separate bank account. And seriously, there's some serious stuff going on here I didn't even realize.
I thought you were going to
I've got
say
like three.
put it in the
I've
roof.
got like flies. No, I've got like random flies going. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna unplug.
Yeah, no worries.
But I'm gonna let you take over for a second, buddy.
Okay. There's a bit of echo from, from there, so we'll wait and see what. Oh no, stop now.
Oh,
Yeah. So
alright.
you're all right, mate.
Yeah, I got something on the roof, so I just got to scrape it off very quickly.
Too easy. We're nearing the end now too, mate. So I'll give you time to um you know finish off with a strong point for the listeners, so we can wrap up inside the hour.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I want to make sure that we finish with something really strong that I've been saving this entire time for. Bear with me. Let me just put that back in. No, that's. I have a child's sense of humor at times, so I will say really stupid things. So please forgive and pardon that. Um, but yeah. So I want to finish on something pretty strong. So I'll let you, if you have any questions, Brett, go ahead and ask away.
Mate. All right. So just before we go into the just touch on the email. So you put yourself on a timer. Do you if you've got 20 emails to write? I mean, what I teach my clients to do. Most people suffer from blank screen syndrome. and they stare at the blank screen and wondering what to write. And I said, well, what? Just come up with a list of your pains for your audience, list of the gains, a list of why won't they buy from you. What are some of the benefits? So they've got essentially 30 or 40 different topics they can just pull from and kind of write about one topic per email. Do you do something similar, or do you
Yeah.
very natural? You can just look at a
Oh no.
yeah,
I have a very similar process because I usually write the sales letter first before I
yeah,
write the email.
yeah,
And what I do is I pull benefits from the sales letter into
yeah,
the email. But
mm,
the way that I do this to speed up, because I get blank space syndrome at times,
mm,
what I write is I write, the thing is you have to kill the blank space in order to start.
yeah,
And most people go, oh, I need to start writing email. No, 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 no. That's the wrong way. That could be a good way, but for me, I think that's the wrong way of doing it. The easiest way to do it, or it's the hardest way to do it, but this is the easiest one, is I write down email one, two spaces down, subject, colon, two spaces down, body, colon, two spaces down, and then I don't start anything, and I go down another four spaces and write email two, colon, two steps down, subject, colon, two steps down, body, four steps down, six steps down, email three, and I keep doing so. I actually write all my email subject body 20 times
oh,
on 20
nice,
pages,
yeah,
and then I start. But I don't do it on 20 pages where it's like at the start of every page is a new thing, because then it kills my brain. It overwhelms it because like I've only got three bits of pieces in text here that I need to fill out on each page. It's too much work. But by
yeah,
having it all on one page, or having it on as many pages as I can, or with this like method of spacing in between, um, mentally it looks like I've written a lot. So my brain starts to fill those. So the first thing I do is I start with the subject line. I
mm,
write the subject line, and then I start writing the email out.
yeah, yeah,
So it could
yeah,
be something as simple like it could be as simple as like say it was a subject line for Brett getting me on the show. It would be something like what would it be? They're just like, oh no, actually I wouldn't even use that as a subject line. Brett, what would you use as a subject line? Because I don't know what you would use.
I don't know. It could be um, UK hotshot copywriter embarrasses himself with his Aussie accent.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a good one to start off with. Or another one,
Because you did
or
embarrass
something.
yourself a little
I did embarrass myself. I still got a six out of that one, so I'm actually happy with that.
We'll give you another
So,
try. You know, because you're such a 10 out of
God
10
damn it,
guy.
Brett. He knows how I am. I'm such a perfectionist about this kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can just write any old like subject line and get people going. It could be something along the lines of, say, the actual premise was, oh, I know, something you can do, how to inject personality into your copy.
Hmm.
Um, special guest Adil Amarsi, guest Adil Amarsi reveals, blah blah. Or oh, personal one though you can totally use for this one is how to write 20 emails in 3 hours.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's a subject. That's a subject line that you can go straight from. All you do is just say, "So I had my friend Adil Marcy come on board. This is what he did. He was walking around his apartment because he."
That's a lead magnet. I'm not sure what happened, man. We just lost connection. Maybe the UK Sun's burnt the internet cables. That's a bad joke. You there, buddy? Hold on. No, we've lost him. I'm not sure what's happened there. Hope it's anyway, guys. We might have to wrap it up there. So fascinating guy is fascinating story. Just how the success he's had at such a young age, when most people that I know at that age aren't really thinking about life for the future. Only the rare few, and he's one of those rare few that um, he's just going to go on and on and up and up and up in this world, in the copywriting world, and he's already got some amazing habits. Yeah. So anyway, looking at the screen, looks like his connection's dropped out. So we might wrap it up there, and anyway, there was some lots of cool hints and tips, inspiring story, and like guys, when you got to write copy, that 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 idea about the timer, it does work. I do it myself. I quite like the way how he kind of chopped that down. That was really cool. And one of my favourite topics of all, which is storytelling. So that was amazing. Hold on, he's just sending me a message. Yeah, no worries. So we've lost him for this one, but that's okay. We've got some good content in, so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in, and go check him out. Adil, yeah, um, Adil Amarsi. I think I might have actually um, pronounced that wrong, but anyway, that now we're even with the pronunciation with his attempt to speak like an Aussie. He's an absolute champion. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I look forward to another guest expert, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.